Hey everyone, welcome to Skottie Talk with Tyler and Dustin. I'm Dustin
Hello.
and he's Tyler. Tonight's episode, we're going to discuss, and Tyler, we've been talking here for a few minutes prior to even this getting started, but I don't think I ever told you. Did you recognize the title of this episode is that feeling you can only say what it is in French? Did you get that
Uh,
reference at all?
I unfortunately did. I'm sure if you told me, I'd be like, "Oh, of course," but I'm blanking at the moment.
You probably would not, and don't feel bad if you didn't get it. It's from a Stephen King book. It's from one of his collections of short stories, Everything Eventual. The story, it's based upon a couple that's experiencing deja vu and a bad feeling of what's going to happen, involves a plane and all that good stuff. But whenever I think of deja vu, I don't remember a whole lot about that story. It came out in 2002, in case anybody's wanting it. I don't remember a whole lot about that story other than another way to say deja vu is that feeling you can only say what it is in French. So, but we're here to talk about good feelings tonight, not bad feelings. So,
Exactly.
so the good feelings that we have, really, there was a piece that you showed me a couple of weeks ago after one of our discussions, after one of our Skottie talks that we had, and when I saw it, I was like, "Oh, that's really cool." And we'll get into that and allow you to give the background to it and everything. But it's thinking, if you think back to the very first time you saw like a piece of Skottie art, that feeling that you had of it's almost like childlike wonder. I'm trying to, for lack of a better phrase, something that it just kind of opens up your imagination and get you excited about the art. And there's other artists that have did that. Skottie was really the first one that whenever I saw his first piece of art, for me, it was like, oh, I've never seen anything like that. That's really cool. That you can tell this guy has a lot of fun whenever he's creating this. And he may have been miserable whenever he was creating that character, but it didn't translate as well. It translated as someone that is creating this because he likes to have fun with his characters. And I don't know if you had that same experience whenever you first saw Skottie's art.
I did, yeah. I mean, I can remember the exact comic. It was the all white Thor cover where he's baby Thor is running across. I think it's with a cat or a kitten. I'm assuming it was an issue one. It probably came out around like 2010 or so, I think, or even maybe earlier than that. That I remember specifically was my first baby cover that I'd gotten, and ever since that one, I just, like you said, it was just the childlike wonder. I mean, I know, some people, the baby covers aren't their thing, which I totally understand. And they like, some of his more, some of his older work or some of the different stuff that he does. But I love that chibi kind of look, and specifically the way that he nailed it was unlike you said anything else that I had kind of currently seen. There was cute stuff for sure, but his style I just, absolutely loved. And I found that one and then, started making my own list, not as good as the ones that you're currently working on in the Facebook group, but, my checklist, I'd go and try and get the latest issues. So.
Well, it's something to go back and think about. And gosh, it's been so many years now that since I first saw the first Skottie piece that, I mean, it's kind of cool that you can pinpoint that Thor cover as the first one that you saw and kind of how it made you feel. But I just remember seeing there was quite a few of the different baby variants out at that time, and just seeing them and thinking, wow, this is really cool. I'd like to collect all of these. There's there's like 5 or 6 of these, and then you do a little research and you're like, no, there's a lot more than these. And this was really early on too.
Yeah.
So someone to be a completist now with just the baby variant covers, you can tell that's quite a bit of work right now.
It is, yeah. Like you said, I mean, I remember when I made them in Photoshop and I'd bring in the cover and later I think it was like 3x4 row or something, and I had like 4 or 5 pages, and I was like, man, this is a lot to collect, the backlog and stuff. And like you said, now it's a whole lot more. It's much more expanded. So.
Well, it sure is, and it's fun to go look at some of the old websites that would give you Skottie checklist, kind of the visual checklist that you're talking about. And these are websites and articles that are dated in the 15, 16, 2017 era, and there's already a ton of them listed there. And that something for a future episode, but it'd be fun to do a deep dive into more of the baby variant covers and ranking them and seeing where they started and where they're going. But I digress. We'll we'll stick to the
Yeah,
deja
maybe
vu for
cover
this
a
episode, and
a
we'll
whole video for sure. So
yeah, we don't want to run over an hour, and we could probably speak an hour just talking about baby variants. So the piece that actually kicked off this discussion tonight is this one that you shared with me after a call. And can you give us a little bit of background on this one, please?
yeah, the this was a piece done by a good friend of my wife and I's. We used to work with back in Minnesota, and he knew that I was a huge Skottie Young fan. And I didn't commission this. It was just one day, as a wedding gift, as a gift for the two of us. He had drawn this piece where both my wife and I were dressed up as our favorite characters or portraying our favorite characters. So for me, that was Iron Man. I love Iron Man, anything Iron Man. And then my wife is a huge Danny Phantom fan. So the Nickelodeon cartoon, if any people remember that one. But yeah, it was just really awesome. I like I said, I didn't know that he was doing this and was really surprised when he gave us this box and I opened it up and wasn't expecting to see, something like this. And I just thought it was really cool that he knew that I love Skottie Young so much and took the time to portray both my wife and I in this way. And I've got it here because I was showing Dustin earlier, and because he also didn't realize from the picture, but it's quite a decent sized piece. It's 11 by 17. And I'll put it here in front of the camera. But I think he did such a great job of nailing the character. Dustin, our friend, he loves drawing super stylized, super cute characters like this. And one of my favorite parts was that he signed it Skottie Dung. No offense, to Skottie. He just did that as like a silly, kind of nickname playing off of Skottie's name. And that's just his, type of humor. But definitely love the piece. It's just such a fun fan interpretation of Skottie's work and a personal piece for us. So
Yeah, the Skottie Dung. Whenever you first showed me that, I didn't take that as an insult towards Skottie, but I took that as more of a kind of a self-deprecating humor from Dustin for saying, you've got your Skottie Young. Well, this is your Skottie Dung. Saying that's kind of a playful thing. So.
Exactly, that's exactly it. Yeah, and he's he draws he would come in on our whiteboard and draw Star Wars characters and silly cartoons and all that kind of stuff. So his mind kind of wanders in the weird, silly, funny direction like Skottie's does or my own does. So it's like you said, it was just more of a self-deprecating humor joke. So
yeah, and I love that piece. That is really cool, especially knowing how big of an Iron Man fan you are. That fits in perfectly. But that really kickstarted our brain when we were thinking, well, there's other artists that, even though we love Skottie, we love his work. There's other artists that we are also, for lack of a better term, inspired by. We enjoy seeing their new work pop up, and for some of the pieces that I will show here, I've got commissions from, and you've got a commission from one of the artists on here as well that we'll share with everybody. But before we get started, you kind of took this into when we first started kicking this around. It was almost a layer inside a layer inside a layer. You're like, all right, well, Skottie and invoked that feeling in us. What really kicked off Skottie, and whenever he was first getting started, or whenever he decided, hey, I want to do this for a living, and you found an old Instagram post with some of these pictures that Skottie had shared on his Instagram. And as I've said before, I can't remember if I've said it on one of the previous episodes or not, but if you listen to very many Skottie interviews or read very many Skottie interviews at all, he's not shy about mentioning that Mad Magazine was a really big influence on his career.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like you said, it always generally comes up, especially if the general question is asked is what got you started in the cartoons and industry, and what got you interested. And he always brings up Mad as inspiration, and like you said, enough to get a tattoo and him dressing up as a kid. And like you said, it was just that layer within the layer, because we value Skottie's work and himself in that same kind of regard that Skottie valued Mad. And that's always interesting to me, that inspirational chain, if you will, of the artists that inspire you or that you appreciate, and then the artists that inspired them, and so forth, and just seeing how that kind of evolves and shapes each individual artist's path, because no two artists are alike. So
oh, no doubt. And just to hear how he speaks about Mad TV or Mad Magazine, and my chart, which we'll jump into here. Let me get into this because I don't want to overstep, but it's not a real chart. It's kind of a flow chart, but we'll use it. But this was I pulled this from a Vulture magazine in 2019 article when Mad Magazine was ceasing production, and it just had all the different pop cultural icons that Mad Magazine has influenced. And I added Skottie's logo on down there just for good measure. But anything from Weird Al to Saturday Night Live to The Simpsons, political. You think about all the political stuff that Mad does. And even Roger Ebert had commented about how influential Mad Magazine was to him at reviewing movies, to see kind of the like we were talking about layers, to see when something's being recycled and it's got a new package on it, but it's the same old garbage underneath it. Mad Magazine was really had its finger on the pulse and was really good about pinpointing and finding what the best satire approach was to any property out there. And as we look at Skottie's work, and you think about all the daily sketches that he's did, where he takes popular, characters, whether it be from Star Wars or Harry Potter or Stranger Things, and puts his own spin on them and makes usually a pretty good tongue-in-cheek joke with it. You can really see if you pull up a Mad Magazine and read those and read the satire that's within those about the properties they use, the influence is pretty clear whenever you kind of view them side by side.
Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah.
But as we get it past the Skottie influence of Mad Magazine, I think the next slide here, if I've got it correct, where this was something that I kind of started, and I started to do a bigger trail on, Tyler. And I actually started to remove this slide from tonight's show, but I'd already put it in there. And this could be something for a future episode where we talk about different homages that Skottie has did. But just the different type of influence, when you see a piece of art and you think, hey, I'm going to put my own personal spin on it. This isn't Skottie taking a piece of art and copying it verbatim. This is Skottie doing his own unique take on it. And the two examples, and this was from one of his Substack newsletters that he had posted, was something from earlier in his work where he had homaged, Norman Rockwell, versus this cover that we all loved from 2023, where they had the John Burns cover on it that had such great jokes all over it. And it's the gift that keeps on giving. The closer you look at the cover, the better the jokes get. So just something I wanted to put this in there just to kind of touch on lightly, but we will definitely get into homages at a different standalone episode, I believe.
Yeah, no, these were great covers. Like you said, especially the X-Men one. I always love going back to that one, like you said, and just digging in and just reading all the stuff in the background and, him taking the time to, slide in these jokes and pay his own, respect and regard to it. Cause that's what it is. Like you said, it's not, him just straight up, nipping or nicking the piece and then, just kind of pacing it as his own. Like you said, it's through Skottie's eyes. And that's always, at least in my opinion, fun to see an artist take on another artist and inspire them and then their own interpretation of it. So,
yeah. And exactly right. Their own interpretation of that's what makes it fun. Whenever you can clearly see what it's paying tribute to without ripping off or copying from what it's paying tribute to, which is a fine line as an artist. I would hate to do something like Skottie and what this famous John Burns cover it's been tributed to many times, but to find out that someone is offended by the way I did it. But you can tell Skottie's take on it. It's different enough where it's not John Burns, him just using the same cover and tweaking a few things. It's him creating it as if he were the one that was originally doing it. So it's one of the best covers around. If I'm not mistaken, this was John's cover whenever we did our March Madness in the group. I might be mistaken. I think this was John's.
I think you're right. I'm pretty sure it was John's choice. So
I don't like to make statements without doing any type of research at all or looking them up, but I'm going to jump off a cliff on that one. I think that was John's favorite cover. All right. And the next slide it's all yours, man. This is all the ones artists that influence you. So I'll back off for a second.
No, yeah, these like you said, I mean, when you pitch the idea of artists who inspire, like your tagline, the title, that feeling, you can only say what it is in French. These other artists for me are exactly the same. And I'd actually followed Joe Mad before more so getting into Skottie, honestly, because I was really big into his comics, his art style. And then, of course, I'm a big Darksiders fan. I love that video game series. The way he brought that comic book, his chunky, mix of Western and Eastern styles together and bringing that into a video game. That video game is one of my all-time favorites. So Joe Mad, then Skottie, and then Ryan Otley, of course, as Dustin said, that actually was a commission I got of Gert holding Invincible's mask. And that was super awesome. It was my first commission from Ryan Otley as well. So that was a really special piece. I wasn't planning on it, just something that popped into my head, and I went for it. And I'm really glad I did. Those two, especially because they've drawn each other's stuff before. This isn't the first time that they've drawn each other's own property. But Ryan Otley's is to me the closest in terms of Skottie's, in that anything that comes out for it or anything, that he's doing a cover on or variant or something, I'm right there. I want to get it. I want to, get him to sign my stuff and remark it. And I like it too, because, they're also completely different. They both deal with gore and silly. And, I think they just both don't take themselves too seriously. I mean, I'd honestly say that for most of the artists here, don't really take themselves too seriously. They just draw what they love. And that's very much, the same case for Brett Bean, who's now taken over for I Hate Fairyland. And this was honestly one of my favorite covers, like overall, for I Hate Fairyland. I just love this movie style poster and the silly look on Gert's face. And, Larry is this massive hulking, buff guy with the weapons and everything. And the fact that they even treated, like an actual poster with the credits on the bottom there was just super great. So I've got an original piece from Brett Bean from the new I Hate Fairyland run, and I'd love to get, a few more pieces and some original art from him as well. And then Derek Loffman is another one that I really enjoy his stuff. He actually just launched a new Kickstarter for his new Crimson Fall comic. It's the second in the series. I highly suggest checking it out. It's, more kind of gory, fantastical comic about, a swordsman, a knight, and a father, church leader, and, them finding monsters and, trying to take out monsters and that kind of stuff. So he also did Ruin World, which, again, it was just that fun, cute style that I really love. And just like the colors and everything, I think are really great. So these four for me are my artists that I constantly keep an eye and ear to the ground, just if they're Substacks, they have those. I follow them, their Instagrams, anything where I can keep up with their artwork and interact with them. And, it's just really cool to be able to, support them and let them keep doing what they're doing, and to be able to just get more awesome artwork like this. And, that's one of the things I love about Skottie's collabs. And, as much as I hate that he's gotten out of the drawing game for interiors and more so into the writing, that's one thing that I've really loved, is him introducing more and more artists that I just maybe wasn't aware of or didn't have on my radar at the time, such as Brett Bean, and then being able to follow them and, kind of have them be just as, close with Skottie in terms of, how much I appreciate their artwork and collect it. So.
Yeah, I was glad you picked these four guys were great, and I was familiar with the first three. Derek Loffman, I'd heard about him, but I wasn't. Whenever I did some digging after you had sent your list over, he has a lot of fun work, and I'll have to look into him a little bit deeper, because like I said, that's what's fun about just kind of commuting about different artists that we both like Skottie, others like Skottie within our group, but this is kind of introductory into other artists that you may have heard about but not be as familiar with. So. Yeah, Derek Loffman's one I'm going to have to do a little bit more digging on.
Yeah, he's really cool. He's a really nice guy. I support him also on Patreon. And like I said, I just backed his Kickstarter. And I think that's honestly where I first found him, was through Kickstarter. It was just a random happenstance across one of his art books. He was reprinting his first art book, extra large edition. And ever since then, I've gotten all of his art books, his comics, gotten some pens and stuff and whatnot. And he's really cool. And I honestly think that could be a cool idea for the Facebook group too, is to be able to maybe kind of like our oh goodness, I'm blanking on the name, but Purge Day. We can maybe do something similar for artists, that are similar, like you said, evoke that same feeling from Skottie, that we could share, and then that way people could find other stuff that are or other people that are similar, and be able to share in that too. So
that's a good idea. I'll have to add that to the list. hadn't thought about that. But yeah, I mean, it's fun because, you know, if me and you came up, I think with 7 guys off the top of our head that do that. So exponentially with all the people within the group, it'd be fun to see kind of who everybody thinks is within that same criteria.
Yeah.
So
And like you said,
great
I mean,
idea.
kind of like the big Marvel covers, you know, there'll be some overlap. There'll probably not be a lot of overlapping. You know, it's just always interesting. You had to see that kind of comparison, especially to see what other people collect. So
100%, man. All right, and my list. These are pieces that I've collected from these 3 artists, and Patrick Ballesteros. I think he's located somewhere around the San Diego area because he's really big into the San Diego Comic-Con, pushing his new art, prints, stickers, and his stuff. That the little denarius that he did at the top up there, which if you know, Skottie has his rides that he does for one of his covers. Well, Pat does a lot of these as well. And one of the ones that was so fun about Denarius, whenever I commissioned that, is she's holding a Starbucks cup in her hand. And if you remember the mess up and the
Starbucks cup, that was left in the shot, yeah.
So just something
That's
fun,
great.
and then the Mandalorian and Grogu down there at the bottom. But a lot of his stuff, he's got a really cool Scott Pilgrim print too. That's got it's like a house. It's got like the different layers with all the different 7Xs and the characters from Scott.
I love when they do that stuff. Yeah.
Oh, it's great.
I'm familiar with Patrick's work. I think I've seen a few of his pieces. So
I'm sure and he does these little minis. They're about this big and they come in like a wooden frame. And I swear, whenever he drops those things, they sell out within like 2 seconds. They go. He just released 8 a few weeks ago, and I made the mistake of not looking until like 3 minutes after they went live, and they were all sold out. But I think he's a lot into. I had to make a note because where there not be a comic background, but he has more of a gaming and storyboarding background. So, but he's a fun artist to follow, and even the little tutorials that he gives on drawing, it's fun. He's just a fun artist to watch out for. And Agnes Garboska, are you familiar with her at all?
I don't believe I'm familiar with her work. No.
I think she's mostly popular or more popular from like the My Little Pony series of comics, but I can't remember. I want to say it was probably 10, 15 years ago, maybe not that long, but somewhere around there, where I saw a Doctor Who, and she did it in a similar style that she did Denarius here, but it was the 10th Doctor. Man, it took me a second there. I forgot which one 10 it was. So he is the 10th Doctor and had Rose. It was the TARDIS. It was really cool.
That's awesome.
And I didn't get a chance to get that one. It was another one of those times where before I was really big into buying art, and the price tag on it was more than I could get at that time. But I always kept her name on in the back of my mind. It's like, all right, I'm gonna get a piece of art from her one day. And Comic Sketch Art was the company that repped her at the time whenever I picked this piece up. But she's fun to watch. She appears on 4C Comics from time to time where she does live drawing, and her stuff is really affordable too now, especially she does a lot of the 4x6 cards or maybe just a little bit bigger, and it's all really affordable. And she does the work that she does with like watercolor is amazing. How she can make a piece light up within just a few seconds. So, and last but not least,
it's a tricky medium. So I always love seeing artists using watercolor.
It scares me to death to see them using watercolor because I'm thinking, man, one bump and it's just kind of going to go all of that. But ones that the artists that can really do that and do it well. It's very impressive to watch them kind of spread it out there and do the way they. But last but not least, Jeffrey Brown. He's the artist and writer of, if you've ever heard of Vader and Son or Darth Vader's Little Princess, the books.
Yep.
Yeah, he's the artist from that, and he's another one I saw. I think it was I've got one of his statues over here from Gentle Giant, but it's Darth Vader and Luke's like giving him a Father's Day present. But I actually saw those statues before I even knew he was an artist, and I thought, oh, that's great. And it's like what's based upon the work of Jeffrey Brown, and get a book in there, and it was really cool to pick up a few pieces from him. At San Diego Comic-Con, where I got both of these pieces on different years, not at the show, but the cartoon Art Museum, I think is the, and I'm
The
should have wrote
website.
this down, is the website, and they do like a charity thing to help artists out, and he always volunteers as one of the artists that you can pick from,
Oh, that's
and
really cool.
that's where I got these two pieces from, was ordering them online and shipping them. And
That's nice to make them available online as well. I mean, I totally get doing it in person with heroes and stuff, but it's cool to be able, if you especially, can't make it out to a big convention like San Diego Comic-Con, and being able to at least participate is really cool. So
yeah, and get the art at home, and the artists, if there are people at the show that are wanting pieces, they can get them done for the participant or the attendees, and everybody else. I mean, these came a few weeks after the show. He had time to take them home and work on them, but
cool.
yeah, and he wasn't at Heroes this past year, but he was actually at Heroes in 2022, and both of my kids got. I've got them over here somewhere. They got like the Incredible Hulk and Captain America from him, and they've
Awesome.
that's their art. That's what they keep, and they have a very small collection of art, but they're very. My son, he'll come get his.
Yeah.
He'll come get his Captain America and just kind of stare at it because it's in the similar style as this, but it's really cool. I'm hoping he pops back up at a show that I'm at again, because I'd love to get another piece from him. But yeah, he's just a great artist.
Yeah, some very cool additions.
Now this was Megan's picks. Whenever we first, the great Megan of the Skottie shop and Skottie's manager, whenever we first put this up that we were doing this week, and offered or asked some questions of some of the different artists that kind of inspire you, this was the 4 that she popped up, and I was familiar with. Yeah, I think I was familiar with all of them, but not as. Mike Del Mundo was one that I wasn't as familiar with, but this piece is really cool. It's like the graffiti style, Kingpin and Miles, but the little Miles in the top left corner, and I'm pointing. I don't know why I'm pointing, because nobody can see me pointing. That's actually a remark. That's a remark that was added to this book, so I want to make sure to point that out. But
that's really cool. I love the size comparison too. I love when Kingpin is as large as can be, and the fact that Miles is tagging him is even better. So,
it's great, and that's what makes the Spider-Verse, the movie, so great. It's just Kingpin is massive.
The one shot where it's just all black and it's just his face is just cinema. It's just so good. So
very much so. And then the next one, I think a lot of Skottie fans are familiar with Dean Rankin from being the Untold Tales of I Hate Fairyland. And he seems to be a big fan of Skottie's from some of the comments that I've seen him post as well. But his art style is very fun, and a lot of the different art that I saw from him was Simpsons related, and that's why I pulled this piece, because it's hard to beat a good Homer drawing.
True.
And then next, Aaron Conley, who Skottie fans are also familiar with. And granted, these are Megan's 4 picks, but these were my 4 picks for the art that I picked for these 4 artists. So I apologize if I didn't live up to what Megan was thinking whenever she mentioned these guys.
But, she had in mind.
Guys and gals. I forgot about Rian Gonzalez there, who I believe she's represented by Nick's Comic Art. Nick's great. I should have wrote down the name of the company, but I've actually looked at a few of her pieces before, and I'm a huge Rogue fan, so I had to put this one down. But
that's a great one. Yeah,
good choices by Megan. I give her 2 thumbs up on those.
4 thumbs up. I'm included that.
Yeah, 4. Yeah. All right, and this is what I'm very excited to talk about, because any new Skottie items in your collection this week, Tyler? And I know you've got some great stuff, but there's one piece I'm very excited about that you got.
Yeah. There's a whole stack, and I can kind of quickly go through them, especially if people follow my Instagram. I already made all my Instagram posts and stuff, but I'll start out with the top one that was one of my personal favorites. Was the fact that I've now got the elusive Skottie signed packaged label. I had Cody, I had tons of Johns. I've got Megan, so to have Skottie, included in that now is really cool. So the only one I'm technically missing is the blank version, and then along with that is the Megan, because technically the Megan one that I have is signed by Skottie as well. When she had him helping her with some work, she said he was he was kind of talking to her, and she's like, "Hey, if you're gonna be here, that's fine, but you got to work." So he started signing her name, which I think is just really funny. And another personal favorite of mine was the fact that they included big Marvel stickers for some of the slabbed big Marvel covers that were sent out. So I grabbed the black and white and the black and white variant and the regular variant for the Iron Man cover, because again, Iron Man is just one of my personal favorite characters. So it was really cool to see that sticker included, because I unfortunately did not go for the big collector's box, even though I would have really liked it. And I think I even commented that on the Facebook group or maybe an Instagram somewhere, that I wish we could at least buy the stickers. So these were the two Iron Man covers that I got. So I've got the color, like I said, in the black and white. And I love, with all of these where he was able to sign them and had it really flowing well with the characters themselves. And I was also really glad to get the 9.8s because with these covers, they didn't guarantee the 9.8s. They could have been 9.6s. So really happy to add these to the collection. And then the last big piece that I was really excited for was the Ain't No Grave covers that just came out. So we've got the Skottie variant that I got from his store with the signature. Just again, I'm so glad that he's doing variants for this comic, because I'm loving Ain't No Grave, loving reading it, and it makes it even better, the fact that I can collect Skottie covers. And then it was perfect timing, because I also finally received my Comic Corner VIP slab edition that I got a few months back. So this completes at least the #1 issues for me, which is really cool. So again, just some great covers for Ain't No Grave. It's just such a great series, and it'll be wrapping up here soon. So I'll be interested to see the ending of it. But yeah, that was there's some more stuff. Got tons more stickers. The Marvel 85th anniversary, the Black Panther, Predator. So tons of good stuff that came out that I recently got, finally going to my LCS, and then as well as from the Skottie shop that shipped out as well. So
That's a pretty great week for you. I mean, the Skottie sticker, if you just would have got the Skottie tag, it'd have been like, all right, I'm good. I'm good for the week. But for the fact that you got all those slabs and comics, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was a great week. I was telling you earlier before we got started, but it was funny because when I opened up the Skottie package, I could see the edge of the slip, and I could see like an S can. I was like, I think that's the Skottie label. It's kind of like the Willy Wonka moment where I was like, I think I got the golden ticket, and I unpacked it, and sure enough, I got both a John slip and a Skottie slip. So I got a 2-for-1. But yeah, definitely glad to at least have one of the Skotties now in the collection. And I keep them up with my slabs on display, so I'm hoping to one day maybe get a frame, a vertical frame, to have them kind of stacked, and then maybe even have them all sign it again, just for fun. So
that's great. I love the Willy Wonka comparison. I'm picturing Slugworth in the corner going, "What do you got there, boy? Let me see."
Exactly. Let me see that. Everybody's scrambling, like, I'll give you $100, 20. And it's like, no. Like, I'm keeping this slip. So
good. I earned this one the hard way. Exactly. But no, that's great. And Seth, I hadn't seen Seth pop in tonight, but I was hoping he would be on just so you could kind of rub that one in a little bit. But no, that's awesome. That's awesome.
I was able to, in a separate message group, I let him know. I said, hey, I just wanted to let you know that you're no longer special. I'm included in the Skottie label. So, but I said, I'm kidding. I said, you're so special. I said, I've just joined you as well as a collector for the Skottie label. So
that's right. And then it's funny because like we were saying before, we've seen maybe one other person get the Skottie sticker, and I'm sure there's probably been a few more that just hadn't been posted where we could see on social media, but it is pretty rare. I mean, you don't see that pop up that much. And I don't, not to downplay John or Megan or Cody or the infamous blank tag, but the fact that everybody likes to get the whole set, it's trying to complete the Infinity Stones on our Skottie pack and gauntlet that we got to
exactly.
have. So.
Yeah, that's the exact reference. Yeah, that I made. That I've got 4 of the 5 stones. So I just need that blank one really to fill it out. But it was funny because as soon as I got Skottie's, I again looked at my collection of Johns, and I think I've got anywhere from maybe like 8 or 9 or so of his. And I started noticing that he'll sign his in different colors too. So now I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, well, now you can collect different color variants of
Yeah.
of the slips and everything. So there's still,
That's a
you know,
good,
more to look forward to as a collector if you're wanting to do that. So
that's a great point. John could really mess with us and start putting like a little smiley faces on it or something like that, and then you'd be like, I'm never going to be able to complete all these because every time you complete them, he could just add some new caveat.
well, there you go. That's funny enough. You know, maybe the blank one isn't blank. Maybe it's UV, you know, writing that you need a UV light to uncover, you know, a secret message or something. That honestly would be a great, you know, funny little gag to include. Kind of it reminds me of Gravity Falls and how they'll do that. There's tons of hidden, you know, things within the books and pages and stuff. So
Yeah, speaking of Gravity Falls, a Skottie daily sketch of Dipper and Mabel. That's or Grunkle Stan. I mean, that's Gravity Falls. We could have a whole episode about Gravity Falls. So I'm trying not to get too. Love that show.
100%. Yeah, it's such a great show. Yeah, I always love when he, you know, draws stuff for the fandoms. Yeah, that I'm also a part of, like Gravity Falls. So always fun to see his take on those characters.
Yes, 100%, 100%. Well, I saw your last thing you posted was the CGC 9.8 of the Ain't No Grave one. I got this one. I don't have the full set, so I'm very jealous of. So I got this one in today.
Nice.
Yesterday.
That one's also really. I love the smoke. The skulls and the smoke was such a nice touch on that cover.
I hadn't even looked at it. The tag. I don't know what it says 2 of 300. I don't know what that. I'm not used to getting the tags with the CGC book, so but that is a cool book. And then I got the two issue 2.
Oh, very nice.
From Skottie shop, awesome. and then issue 3.
That's super cool.
So
yeah, getting those slabs would be really awesome. The only one I have is from the shop I got was Skottie's variant for number 1, the more grungy kid cover. That one I just, again, that's, you know, and you know, I'm sure that he loves getting to draw that stuff in his style more so than the baby variants he's so used to doing, you know, having to do for Marvel and stuff. So it's always fun to see him kind of, you know, switch back to that kind of stuff. But yeah, honestly, I'd love to have the whole set, you know, especially because it's a limited run and being able to get them all slab, especially those fun baby variant covers of them would be cool. So
especially, I mean, those kind of came out of nowhere too. I wasn't expecting those. I don't think anybody was expecting to see the baby covers for this series. This is a pretty serious series, and to see him kind of take a lighthearted approach to the 1 in 25 cover here ratio variants was really cool. And I'm assuming issue 5, his variant will be dropping on the shop soon, especially with the issue coming out next week. But I keep watching for that one. It hasn't popped up yet, but probably any day now we'll see it come up for pre-order. So that'll be exciting.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe they're waiting. Maybe it has a spoilery kind of, you know, maybe hint to it on the cover that they're maybe waiting for the full release so far. So
I got you. Well, we're only 7 days away now, a week away now. So excited to see how that concludes. And I've seen several of these pop up in the group this week in our Skottie Young Appreciation group on Facebook. The 2 new issues that came out is Venom War 2. I believe this is a 5-run miniseries. And Skottie has did the first. On the next slide, we'll see the 3 that he's did so far. And then What If Donald Duck Became Thor number 1. And I actually want to try to get all these slab too. I haven't got them. They're still available for pre-order in the shop. But I think these are fun. The Wolverine and the Thor, and then we haven't seen what the Captain Marvel Minnie Mouse is going to be yet. But these are just a lot of fun. These are, and I think I've used the word fun approximately 37 times tonight, Tyler. But
we switched to fun, which I'm more fine with fun than so which that's a tongue twister in and of itself. But I mean, these are just fun, great covers. And I love the fact that with Venom Wars, he's doing multiple. They're all just equally hilarious in their own right. This one's just so great. The Spider-Man dodgeball and the color smear is, you know, Venom's just getting blasted away. And, you know, Donald Duck as Thor is just hilarious. I mean, Donald Duck is really any Marvel character fits super well because he's just a silly character himself. So, yeah, these are sitting in my box. again, until I make Wednesday my go-to day. Normally it's the weekend for me, a weekend run, because it's just easier. But I'm definitely looking forward to adding both of these to the collection. So again, it's
Oh yeah.
just been such a great year for Skottie covers, and I'm getting less and less picky, which is both a good and a bad thing, because there's just too much good stuff. So
Yeah, and then you just look at this next slide here. And speaking of
yeah.
too much good stuff, if you just looked at the Venom War covers of issues 1, 2, and 3, and issue 3 is the one that they just revealed the image to this past week. And the little thumb wars, I declare, 1, 2, 3, 4, I declare Venom War. That's great. That's such a great fun joke. Fun once again, and with like you said, the dodgeball, the Spider-Man dodgeball, and then the two Venom in issue 1. Great run. I haven't seen if he's going to do issues 4 and 5, not yet, but it'd almost be criminal not to at this point. But I'm sure his
I hope
plate's
so.
full.
Yeah. I'd be curious to see what other ideas he comes up with, because, like you said, these first three are perfect. So it'd be fun to have a whole set. That's something that, interestingly enough, like we don't really get with Skottie. Especially with variant covers, they're normally just a one-off for a number 1, or
Yeah,
the big Marvel set where they were kind
again,
of one-offs and
yeah.
stuff. So to have a whole set that's kind of themed around Venom and the shenanigans they can get themselves into, that's a really fun idea, and I like the idea that it's still limited sets. Maybe get the 5 covers and that's it. So I do hope he finishes those 2. So
I do too. And you're exactly right. I mean, it seems like Marvel releases so many number 1s with their different characters and different events they have running that if for Skottie to try to keep up and produce his cover for as many number 1s as they release, that would probably be a full-time job if he wasn't writing 6 other books and running a business and doing all the other things that he does. But I feel almost spoiled that we've gotten 3 from this one so far. But the spoiled part of me quickly turns to being greedy and thinking I gotta have 4 or 5 now. But
that's that balance. Yeah, that's that. Because just like you said, it's just so good. So the fact that, like you said, we got 3, and that's normally not something that occurs. It's like, okay, well then we've got to get the other 2 right, and if we don't,
yeah,
we don't get to finish that off. So especially, I love sets. I love collecting a set of something is just like when it all lines up and works together. That's always makes it even more fun to me. So
it's Venom. It's Venom. You can't beat Venom for that. So, but the speaking of giving Venom a run for his money, the new Moon Knight and Fist of Nashu. I wasn't expecting this one. This one kind of came out of nowhere. I forgot that it was on my pre-order list, but when the cover reveal dropped for it, I was like, oh gosh, he just every time he does a Moon Knight cover, it seems like he brings his A game and then some.
He does, yeah. And I think it's one of those things too where I always love when he draws the moon. I don't know what it is about it, the way he does craters, or especially in this where it's just, I love that it's the excuse me, the light source, but also makes Moon Knight the focal point, and just makes him really pop off the page. And it's just such a cool pose, and the cape, really big, going up behind the title itself. Like you said, all of his Moon Knight covers have just been really, really great. So like kind of like going back to the Venom stuff, almost like a set, being able to have each of these different Moon Knights, and now especially with my graded Moon Knight, the first of the run, it'll be another great one to add to the collection. So
yeah, that's awesome. And I don't have an artist bone in my body, but just I like using the word contrasting, and the contrasting colors that he uses with the moon and the character really makes Moon Knight pop. So that's about as deep as I get into my artistic whale that I have. But other than saying it's fun, that's what
I mean, that's the main thing there for sure.
We got to talk about these. We touched on these last week, and we were kind of debating on how long it would take for them to sell out. I'll be the first to admit I was incorrect. I said I thought it would take around an hour to sell out. It took 2 hours and 20 minutes for them to sell out. And I know whenever the first post was put out there with the price range going from approximately $1,000 to $1,500, there were a lot of people going, I don't think they'll, I don't know if they will. And I was just back in my mind, I'm thinking, it's going to sell. It's Ninja Turtles.
Good luck with that. Like you said, that's, it's like, well, there's a reason they're priced that way, because they are highly confident they're going to sell at that, price point. And like you said, sure enough, it might have taken a little longer than you estimated at first, but they definitely got there in the end. So
Yeah. So I mean, had they been priced less than that, my 2 hours and 20 minutes would have probably been like 2 minutes and 20 seconds. They would have sold out in. So they were priced for, if they had to wait for them to sell, they didn't have to wait long. They were all unique. And the great thing about these is that, he did all 4 turtles and had all 4 colors popping in there. And they all had something just slightly different about them to make them each unique. So no one's going to say, well, I own one just identical to someone else. These are truly unique remarks. And I know CGC's coming up, his signing that he's doing for those. Those aren't going to be color. Those are going to be black and white. They're going to be probably slightly more rushed than what these were. He did 10 of these and probably was able to take his time more so than having to do 100 or so, whatever they're doing at CGC. So this was a very special opportunity. And I'll be the first to say, I'm not going to say that they were priced for everyone, but the great thing about Skottie's art is, just because you can't get this one doesn't mean you can't get the individual comic color or their full cover, or there's plenty of other choices. This isn't the only thing Skottie's putting out this year for people to get. So hopefully the people that were disappointed or upset when they saw the pricing realize that there's plenty of opportunities for them to buy other Skottie stuff later on. And the good thing about this is the where it was priced was it kind of prohibits people from getting them and selling them immediately. I have a feeling that whoever bought these was probably either true fans of Skottie or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah. So hopefully everybody that got them is really going to enjoy and cherish them because they were all pretty special.
Well, it's such an interesting, it's such a tough, it's one of those interesting to me, especially being an artist myself. It's such a field that is so opinionated. So it's always super difficult to, it's not like, a Big Mac or, whatever, a comic or something like that, where, there's this expected price that you'll pay. With art, there's so many variables that go into it. And like you said, whether it's, the remark, because he hardly ever does remarks anymore, except for CGC. So this is, a rare occurrence. And even Megan herself in that Substack, noted that she had brought it up to Skottie and was, super shocked to come in to find these laying out on the table for her, ready to go. So, that's one aspect of it, the color, like you said. And then, especially with art, you're not just paying for that piece, like you're paying for the years they've built up to like get to that point. And, personally being an artist, I love being able to see an artist, be able to drop something like this at this price and then successfully sell them and, promote. Because again, like you said, this isn't unfortunately for everybody, but what this allows them to do is the people who did buy this, that money then just funnels right back into the company, allows them more time, more money, more, people to be able to put out the stuff that is affordable for everybody. And Skottie's, not a type of person who's going to rip people off. I mean, a perfect example is his Substack. It was a $300 yearly charge for those who wanted the premium experience, which I myself, I did pay for that when that first came out because, I thought, hey, what the heck? I'd love to support you. I love the idea of maybe getting a little something extra and stuff. But when he made it free, you saw the exact opposite reaction. People were like, wow, this is awesome. This is great. Where you get some people are like, well, I paid for, this, I'm entitled to my private, screening or, whatever and stuff. And I'm like, hey, that's awesome. Allowing everybody to enjoy your Substack and not, putting up a pay barrier and stuff. So like you said, this isn't unfortunately for everybody. I would have loved to have owned one of these, especially one of the front facing turtles. I wish you would have done a Leonardo front facing. That would have been really cool. But like you said, I've got to pick and choose. Same with the slabs. You talked about getting some more of the slabs and stuff. And I'm like, I just got to stick to the regular signed stuff. But, that's just as awesome and just as cool. And like you said, there's something for everybody to get. So, but still crazy. Like you said, still definitely, like you said, out of my price range. When they dropped those, I was like, wow, I won't be even contemplating these, but that's really cool, for whoever already is and is already have it in their mind. Like, I'm going to grab this when it drops. So.
Oh, no doubt. And we touched on this a little bit last week, but I went back and looked, and I think it was $4,800 is what the Michelangelo with the pizza box sold for at Heritage. I don't want to say, I keep saying Heritage, it may be a Comic Link, but there's a fandom for the turtles that rivals what we consider for Skottie. So there's been pieces that I've seen different artists drop on their sites, and I saw the price, and I was actually excited about buying a piece. And then I saw the prices, and I thought, I'm just going to back away from these. And those pieces would sit there for a while. I think Skottie and Megan and the group or Megan, I'll say is the manager, has found a price point where they know what Skottie's worth and what his art is worth. And he's not sketching at shows. If you've noticed, the daily sketches have kind of disappeared just because of his workload that's piled up. So this is a rare opportunity. If you want a Ninja Turtle from Skottie, this is your chance to do it. And obviously there was enough fans to make it sell out in 2 hours and 20 minutes. So congrats to everybody that got one. They were really cool. And I'm always thrilled when an artist that I follow or that I really appreciate does well and succeeds, because like you just pointed out, it's just more products coming down the road for us. I mean, nobody wants anybody to flail out and just end up ruining the business. So as a Skottie fan, and as you as a Skottie fan, this was a big win for everybody. At least
And no, it's a great point. That just one last remark about the IP. The Turtles definitely, I think, played a majority of the role in pricing these out, because I mean, you could get an original comics panel or art piece from Skottie cheaper than these, at his Heroes Con, for some of his books like Bully Wars and things like that. And that's just, unfortunately, again, the weight of Turtles is, has years and years, just like Skottie. There's years and years of, that love for it just as much as Skottie. So yeah, putting the two of them together, especially since, it's his first turtle cover in, almost 2 decades, so definitely, it's not necessarily surprising with the IP that it's a part of. So
no, and the crazy thing about, even with the remarks, I've watched a couple of Whatnot and eBay live shows that's popped up over the summer cons that's popped up, and J. Scott Campbell was doing his remarks, and I mean those were going on eBay live from anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000, and they were a lot quicker than what these were. And Art Germ, past few cons, when he's put up the quick remarks, remarks that Art Germ probably charges $150 for at shows. I saw one sell for $3,000 on eBay live show, and the great for Art Germ, great for the comic shop that was representing him for that show, but they were really pushing it as one of one. But everybody at the show knows that Art Germ does sketch at shows. He does do different layers of things. People that bought these and tries to buy any of the Skottie art, even the CGC opportunities, know that Skottie doesn't sketch at shows anymore. So I would hate to see one of these remarks or another piece of art similar to this pop up at eBay Live or a Whatnot show as an auction, because this price may look cheap, especially the hype people. That Whatnot has some really good hype people, and they get people bidding.
You're definitely not wrong there. That's for sure.
So I could imagine that these would. So, but I have a feeling that Megan and them, they know where the price point is without gouging the fans, and whatever your respective opinions are over that, that's just mine, and I appreciate what they do.
Yeah, same.
Which brings us to warehouse sale.
Something for everybody.
yeah. This is something that was teased, and just from previewing what's going there looks like there's an actual sketch from Twig by Skottie that I'm assuming will be going up for sale, along with some of the Batman, the Alien, Predator. That was the 1 in 25 cover for Strange Academy Finals, I think, that Skottie had.
Yep. Yeah.
And a few other things. So I'm sure there'll be news coming from that shortly, but that's something fun. It's always, especially with as many new Skottie fans that have popped up in the group, that have popped up at cons, this is a great opportunity for them to go get some books that they may have thought were long sold out, especially the Skottie shop books.
Yeah, no, it's great. And like you said, they're getting rid of extra stock or stuff that's just been sitting around that hasn't sold, they haven't been able to technically get rid of. So, you'll find discounts on them, which is really great. I did it previously where they had mystery boxes for, I think it was like 5 to 10 prints. I think you could choose how many you wanted. And thankfully they were older prints, ones that I just didn't have a chance to get. A lot of stuff like I Hate Fairyland or so things like that. So that was really fun. I'm definitely looking forward to this, even just from a stuff that's, not been on the website for a while point of view, not just the sale part of it. So definitely looking forward to whenever they drop the news of this on Substack. So.
Oh yeah. Oh, you're a big fan of this cover, and I absolutely love this cover. This is one of my favorite covers. If I was doing the Skotties by myself, this may be cover of the year. This would, if I was doing it by myself, I have a huge network of people behind me, but
Let's say you got 7,000 plus people now in the group. So
yeah. This one will be a front runner, but there's other cover, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle cover that we just showed. There'll probably be people arguing with that, rightfully so. But I love this cover. I love Tony working on the suit. There's just something very drives back to the origin of Iron Man whenever you see him.
Yeah, I think that's, you've hit the nail on the head. I honestly think that's it. It takes me back to the Mark I days where, it's just him, a box of scrap metal and pieces, doing the work. He doesn't have all this automated processes and stuff, the stuff we're more so used to seeing in the movies, which, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love that stuff. It's very fitting for the cinematic, but him to just take his helmet and then use that as a welding mask is it's that, and then working on the chest and being able to see like rivets, getting to see more gold detail, and especially again the background stuff. I absolutely love when he adds background elements. Just the simple wires hanging down, just the arm piece and the metal cabinets and trays. The box in the background. It's just this is, like you said, hands down one of my favorite Iron Man pieces he's done overall. And, especially recently in the baby variant cover is definitely one of my favorite, if not my favorite, baby variant Iron Man covers. So definitely excited to be getting this one. This one's just, like you said, it just knocked it out of the park. Definitely contender, for best of the year for me personally. So.
Yeah, there's a couple of different covers that whenever I see him, I was like, oh, it's just, I want to see the cover art, and I want to see the cover art hanging on my wall. That's not to sound greedy or anything, but this is one I was like, my gosh, this is probably the perfect cover. The other time I had a feeling like this, and I didn't really say it until I actually got the book, was the Hallows Eve cover. I love that one from when I first saw it. I had the same feeling whenever I saw this one, because there's cool covers that I see, like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle cover and the Batman cover that pop up. And I thought I would think those would look great on my wall, but I know I'll never have those on my wall. Those are kind of out of the realm of possibility for the wall. But when I see covers like this, I'm thinking maybe there's a shot. Maybe there's a shot at it. But this one's awesome. I really do like this one as well, Tyler.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. Yeah, I would love to own the original art for this, and maybe even one day they'll make an unoriginal print of it if it gets enough demand. So that's definitely another one of those where the original art unfortunately is not going to be able to be purchased by everybody, but having stuff like the unoriginal prints is such an awesome way to be able to give that instead to people. So
it is such a nice alternative to have that, to be able to put that up there, because I've got my Skottie art on this wall, and on this back wall I've started hanging. I just got that's something that came in the mail today, is my 11 by 17 frames for the rest of the unoriginal art. But I started lining the wall over there with that, and they look. You would come in and see them and be like, "Man, you've got some of the best Skottie covers ever."
Like, whoa, how much? It's $50. You're like, what? And it's like, no, it's That's why I love they have to have that tagline at the bottom. Like, you've been duped if you're buying unoriginal for original prices. And honestly, I'll tell you, I don't know how you feel about it personally, but having an unoriginal print is far less stressful to me than owning the original. I'm quick. I can throw up an unoriginal print or a print from the shop really easily, but I'm unfortunately still hee-hawing over my Fortnite piece and getting that frame, because I want to protect it. I don't want anybody to damage it. I want it to be in a museum frame with museum glass and everything. So it's nice to have those, not original prints and being able to just hang those up and still enjoy them as if they were. So
No, you're exactly correct, because I bought some frames, some 11 by 17 frames from Amazon, and they were a little different than the mainstay like Walmart ones I got. And I hung up, I think, 5 of the different unoriginal arts from the first wave. And I came in the next day, and the little command strips on the back did not stick to those frames as well as the plastic. They had
yeah.
all fallen on the ground, and the frames were shattered.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was bad, and
Yeah.
one of the prints, one of the unoriginal art prints got wrinkled, but I mean it still displays nicely. You can still put
Yeah.
it up there. It's not good, but it's just, I was thinking it'd be a whole lot different if you came in and it was a piece that, like you said, like your Fortnite piece that was
Yeah.
crashed to the ground with glass around it and everything. So, not that I want anything to happen to my unoriginal part
Yeah,
for
not
artwork, but
knock on wood, yeah, for any of it. But like you said, it's definitely not as stressful to have something like that happen with those as much as an annoyance it is for sure. So
yeah, and I don't plan on ever getting rid of them. I mean, my kids may whenever, one day, but so I just like them for the display purposes and how good they look. And that little wrinkle smoothed out as soon as I put it in a new frame, so it was all good. All right, last but not least, I had put a poll up in the group asking how everybody felt about possibly doing a Heroes Con 2025 potential fan meetup. And actually, I'm not sure. I keep on forgetting to message Dr. Tracy and let her know about our Skottie talk that we do here. But she had been one that she had messaged me asking me about this, about ideas about possibly doing a fan meetup. And I really wanted to kind of spitball the Heroes Con as a potential one, because we know that's kind of a home con for Skottie and Megan. And so far, there's 18 people that said they were interested. Now, whether timing or whether people would actually be able to attend is another thing. But I wanted to make sure we did this kicked off, because Heroes is next June, I believe, the week of the 22nd, weekend of the 22nd. But this gives us approximately 9 months in order to plan something. So if anybody has any ideas, please feel free to message me or Tyler, and we'll try to figure something out where we could at least do some type of, maybe even grab dinner with everybody. Tyler had mentioned, possibly a Mexican restaurant that's close to the convention center. He said it might be a little loud at times, but heck,
yeah,
I figure
Charlotte's a ton of good places to eat, and there's so much within just walking distance, and that's why I brought it up to him, is because I walked over there to meet my mom. Funny enough, who drove up to come visit me. So tons of options if people are interested in being able to get a somewhat larger space to be able to chat and meet up. I know, just being able to see Dustin and meet other people like Nikki and stuff was just really fun, and being able to talk to people in person. Finally, I'm very extroverted, so being able to chat without that screen barrier is nice to me. So
Oh yeah, it was really cool, because we got to, like Tyler said, we get to meet Tyler, and then all the people from Captured Collectibles with the Matt and Nikki and Jason and Monica and Haywood. I mean, it was really cool just to be able to hang out with all them while Skottie was doing his charity piece, and just be able to kind of chat with everybody while you're watching actual art being produced. But to do that in a more personal setting, or kind of away from the show, where everybody can kind of do what we do in private messaging, except do it face to face, seems like a good time to me. But we got plenty of time to come up with something. And if anybody has any ideas, please feel free to share them with us. Last but not least, next week, are you excited about I haven't even announced it. Next week, I started asking if you're excited about next week, but I forgot. We had talked about it prior to the show. But next week, September 11th, our show will be the Ain't No Grave issue 5 finale. We'll try to do a recap of the issues 1 through 4 and kind of our opinions and where we think it's going with the different 4 stages of grief prior to we get to the final stage of acceptance, which concludes with issue 5. I'm still predicting a bummer ending, Tyler. I'm predicting a very bring your hankies next week, because we're gonna spoil the fire out of it for everybody that hasn't watched it or read it yet. So please, if you are planning on reading issue 5, please do so prior to watching the show next week, because we're going to be discussing it after me and Tyler both run over to our comic shop next Wednesday and try to pick it up.
Yeah, like Dustin say, we'll get to make it in such a way that we'll discuss the first 4, and then we'll bring it up as a warning, for those who haven't been able to grab it yet or weren't or not able to read it, when we're doing the show. But yes, I definitely will be making it out to the comic book store because I want to be able to read this immediately and pronto. And unlike you, I think we're gonna get maybe a bittersweet ending. I'm hoping more for a bittersweet, some realizations, some tears that are happy and sad. I think Skottie does that stuff well, that balance kind of, the two. So, but I'm definitely looking forward to it regardless. And like you said, really hoping to see his 5th and final variant cover as well, whenever that's announced. So,
well, I think I'll try to hide it. Tyler will probably do a lot better than I am, but if it's a sad issue, my eyes will be bloodshot, and I'll have a little bit more venom in my tone whenever I discuss issues 1 through 4. No pressure, Skottie. No pressure. But yeah, but I'm looking forward to that. The only thing that could hurt that is if my comic shop, which doesn't carry very many issues, sells out of it prior to I get over there, and then I'll have to buy it online digitally and read it prior to the episode. But either way, looking forward to it and seeing how it wraps up.
Yep, same. Yeah, it's been such a great series, and again, this team in my eyes can do no wrong. They haven't, at least yet. Every single one they've knocked out of the park, and it's just been so awesome to again just get another genre, get another just comic book series that's just so relatable, but just also like you said, the art is just great and the writing, everything. So
absolutely. All right. I'd like to thank everybody that popped in tonight and everybody that will watch after the show has aired live. Real quick, I don't know if you noticed, I like statistics. That's the only reason I look at these type of things. But our episode 1 hit 100 views, so I was like, all right, we got 100 views.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I mean, we're not doing it for the views. We're doing it for the hangout fun aspect of talking about all things Skottie. But yeah, it's nice if a few people join us. So even if they don't, me and Tyler will be every week doing our thing. And until next week, whenever we get that final episode of Ain't No Grave, everybody have a great week. Tyler, you want to do a sign off? Because my sign off was absolutely awful last week.
We talked about it last week, and my sign off option was to stay messy. I think that fits the group, and the Messy Crew is kind of what Megan gave me the idea for the nickname for this crew in this video series. So everybody stay messy, stay on that Skottie grind, and go to your local comic book store and keep supporting them. So
amen to that. All right, y'all have a great week. We'll see y'all next week.
See you.